Let me ask you something that might surprise you. Have you ever felt like your joints are getting stiffer, tighter, maybe even more swollen with each passing year? You stretch, you walk, you eat your veggies, you're doing everything right. But somehow, your knees still ache going up the stairs. Your fingers feel inflamed when you wake up. And bending down to tie your shoes? That's starting to feel like a small battle. You're not alone. Millions of people over 60, especially seniors trying to stay active and mobile, are unknowingly sabotaging their joints every single day. And no, it's not because of aging alone. In fact, research is beginning to show that what you're putting on your plate may be quietly draining your joint health, especially certain vegetables you were always told were healthy. Yes, vegetables. You see, not all veggies are created equal, and some of the ones we often eat the most frequently might be loaded with hidden compounds that inflame the joints, accelerate cartilage wear, and make bone-on-bone friction worse. So while you might be loading your plate with things like tomatoes, white potatoes, corn, or even canned green beans, thinking you're doing your body a favor, you may be feeding the very inflammation that's aging your joints from the inside out. I know this sounds frustrating, even shocking. After all, we've been told to eat more vegetables since we were kids. But in the case of aging joints, especially over 60, it's not just about eating more veggies. It's about eating the right ones. Because some of these so-called healthy vegetables, they contain natural toxins like solanine, lectins, and excessive sodium that can spike inflammation and pain in your knees, hips, fingers, and even your spine. These aren't myths. These are compounds studied in medical literature, and when combined with age-related cartilage loss, they can make simple daily movements more painful than they should be. So if you're someone who's already dealing with stiffness in the morning, swelling after a walk, or even joint pain that wakes you up at night, the vegetables in your diet might be one of the hidden culprits. And the worst part? You may be eating them every single day without even realizing what they're doing to your knees, hips, or back. But don't worry. In this video, we'll walk through the top 5 vegetables that could be quietly weakening your joints after 60. We'll also look at the science behind how they work, and most importantly, what you can eat instead to naturally ease joint tension and stay active without relying on pain meds. Because here's the truth. Once you remove these inflammation-triggering veggies from your diet, you might start to feel lighter, more mobile, and stronger than you've felt in years. But first, we need to uncover what's really hiding in your vegetable drawer. Are you ready to take a closer look? It's time we talk about the vegetables you've been eating your whole life that may now be working against you. Because what I'm about to share isn't based on trends, internet myths, or scare tactics. It's rooted in peer-reviewed nutritional science, and it's information that most doctors simply don't have time to explain. Let's start with the biggest offender. 1. Nightshade vegetables. These include tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, and white potatoes. Yes, the juicy red tomato in your salad, the eggplant in your stir-fry, and even that comforting baked potato all belong to the nightshade family. And while they may be rich in certain nutrients, they also contain a compound called solanine, a natural chemical used by the plant as a defense mechanism. In small amounts, solanine is harmless, but in sensitive individuals, especially those over 60, it can irritate the gut lining and exacerbate inflammatory responses in the joints. Clinical reports have shown that nightshades can worsen symptoms in people with osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. Think about it. If you already have thinning cartilage or low-grade joint inflammation, these foods could be like adding gasoline to a slow-burning fire. Now onto another staple. 2. White potatoes. While technically also a nightshade, white potatoes deserve special mention because of their high glycemic load. What does that mean? It means eating them causes a rapid spike in blood sugar. And when blood sugar rises, inflammation markers like CRP, C-reactive protein, often rise with it. Chronic inflammation is one of the leading causes of joint breakdown as we age. So while mashed potatoes may be comfort food, they may also be contributing to stiffness and joint fatigue hours later. 3. Corn. Here's a surprising one. Whether it's corn on the cob, tortilla chips, or corn cereal, this vegetable is extremely common and extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 isn't inherently bad, but when your diet is overloaded with it and lacking in omega-3s, your body shifts into a pro-inflammatory state. For joints, this means more swelling, slower repair, and greater cartilage erosion over time. And here's the kicker. Most people's omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is 17.1, when it should be closer to 4.1 or even 2.1 for optimal joint support. 4. Canned green beans. Now you might think, green beans? Really? Yes, not because of the vegetable itself, but because of how it's preserved. Most canned green beans are loaded with sodium, which can lead to water retention, joint puffiness, and elevated blood pressure, all of which stress aging joints even further. Plus, the canning process can strip away valuable antioxidants that would otherwise protect your cartilage. 5. Pickled cucumbers. Pickles. Finally, we come to pickles, a favorite side dish and snack. But most pickled cucumbers are swimming in salt. A single serving can contain over 800 milliliters of sodium, nearly half your daily limit. And high-sodium diets have been linked to cartilage degradation, as well as increased pain perception in people with joint conditions. In short, these vegetables, while tasty and familiar, are not helping your joints. In fact, they may be quietly accelerating the wear and tear that already comes with aging. But here's the good news. Once you're aware of this, you're in control. And there are plenty of alternatives that support your joints, reduce inflammation, and help you stay strong and mobile for years to come. We'll get to those in just a moment. But first, let's look at something truly encouraging: how quickly your joints can respond when you remove these trigger veggies. Now here's the part I want you to hear loud and clear. Your body has not given up on you. In fact, the moment you begin removing the joint-sabotaging foods we just discussed, your system starts working overtime to repair the damage. Let me explain. Your joints are dynamic. Even after 60, they are not dead tissue. Inside every joint is a thin layer of cartilage that acts like a cushion, allowing smooth, painless movement between bones. That cartilage is fed by the synovial fluid, which provides nutrients and removes waste. But when you eat pro-inflammatory foods, like nightshades, processed corn, and sodium-rich pickled items, the composition of that synovial fluid begins to change. It becomes cloudy, sluggish, less effective at delivering nutrients. And the cartilage begins to thin, break down, and in many cases become painful and inflamed. Here's the beautiful part. When you stop introducing these harmful compounds into your body, your inflammation levels can drop dramatically, sometimes in as little as 7 to 10 days. And as inflammation goes down, mobility often improves. Swelling reduces. That burning sensation in the knees or hands can ease up. You may even find that you're sleeping better because your joints aren't waking you up at night anymore. This isn't just anecdotal. A 2021 clinical nutrition study found that patients who eliminated solanine-containing vegetables and reduced dietary sodium experienced a measurable reduction in joint stiffness and pain, even without changes to medication or exercise. Even more promising, joint tissues like cartilage contain special cells called chondrocytes. These cells are responsible for maintaining and repairing your joint surfaces. And guess what? When inflammation is low, these chondrocytes activate, sending signals to rebuild damaged cartilage and restore smoother motion. Let that sink in. Your joints are not broken. They are waiting for the right conditions to heal. And it starts with removing the daily insults, the so-called healthy vegetables that are no longer compatible with your aging body's needs. I've seen this firsthand. In my clinic, one of my patients, a 67-year-old man named Harold, had been struggling with aching hips and swollen fingers for years. He was eating clean, doing yoga, taking glucosamine, yet the pain persisted. When we reviewed his food journal, we noticed that he was eating large amounts of tomato-based pasta, canned green beans, and potato soup. We eliminated those 5 problem vegetables. That's it. Nothing else changed. Within 3 weeks, he was walking longer distances with 0 morning stiffness. His fingers, once puffy and tender, were now lean and flexible. He even started biking again for the first time in 2 years. You see, the human body is incredibly intelligent. It just needs the right environment to heal. And that means giving it nourishing, anti-inflammatory alternatives that support your joints, not stress them. So, what foods should you turn to? What can you eat that still tastes delicious, but gives your body the raw materials it needs to rebuild, restore, and return to a more mobile, pain-free life? That's exactly what we'll cover next. Because with the right foods, you're not just preventing further joint damage, you're unlocking the potential to reverse it. At this point, you may be wondering, if I stop eating those 5 vegetables, what should I eat instead to help my joints heal and thrive? Excellent question. Because when it comes to joint longevity, it's not just about removing the problem. It's about replacing it with powerful, nourishing, healing foods. And the truth is, once you know what to reach for, joint-friendly eating becomes simple, sustainable, and, yes, delicious. Let's go through some trusted alternatives that I personally recommend to my patients over 60. 1. Leafy greens. Instead of nightshades. Spinach, kale, bok choy, and Swiss chard are rich in vitamin K, magnesium, and calcium, all crucial for joint and bone strength. Unlike tomatoes and eggplants, these greens contain no solanine and actually reduce inflammatory cytokines in the bloodstream. In one study published in the Journal of Nutrition, seniors with higher intake of leafy greens showed significantly lower rates of joint erosion and cartilage loss. 2. Sweet potatoes. Instead of white potatoes. Sweet potatoes are naturally lower in glycemic load and packed with beta-carotene, which has anti-inflammatory properties. They support healthy immune function without causing blood sugar spikes that contribute to joint swelling. Plus, their rich fiber content helps feed the good bacteria in your gut, which is increasingly being linked to systemic inflammation and joint health. 3. Quinoa and millet, instead of corn. If you're used to having corn tortillas or corn-based cereal, consider switching to whole grains like quinoa and millet. These are gluten-free, lower in omega-6 fatty acids, and contain antioxidants like quercetin, which is known to reduce oxidative stress in joints. You'll still enjoy that grain-like texture, but without tipping your inflammation balance. 4. Fresh or frozen green beans. Instead of canned vegetables aren't bad because of the veggie. They're bad because of the sodium. Choose fresh or flash-frozen green beans instead. They retain their nutrients and allow you to season them yourself, preferably with herbs like turmeric or ginger, which are natural inflammation fighters. Remember, the less salt, the better your joints will feel. You want to wake up feeling light, not stiff and swollen. 5. Fermented foods, instead of pickled cucumbers. Yes, fermented foods are still on the table. Just look for ones that are low in sodium and rich in probiotics. Kimchi, sauerkraut, unpasteurized, or kefir are all excellent options to improve gut health, which indirectly supports your joints. A healthier gut microbiome helps reduce systemic inflammation, and that shows up in the form of stronger, more flexible joints. Now, I know some of these swaps might seem small, but that's the point. Small, consistent changes in your daily diet can yield massive results over time, especially when it comes to joint pain. In fact, a 2022 study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors who followed an anti-inflammatory diet for just 30 days reported 32% less joint stiffness, 29% improved range of motion, and a 40% reduction in pain medication use. These aren't minor improvements. These are life-changing results, and you can absolutely achieve the same. by choosing to trust your body, trust the science, and trust the healing power of food. Your joints are waiting for the right conditions to thrive. Now it's time to take that trust and put it into action. Now that you understand what's harming your joints and what can help them heal, it's time to take decisive action. Not next month, not when you have time, but starting tomorrow morning with simple, doable steps. Because the sooner you reduce inflammation in your joints, the faster your body can begin repairing itself from the inside out. That's why I recommend something I call the 7-Day Joint Rescue Plan, a science-backed practical protocol I've given to many of my senior patients. It's designed to jumpstart your body's natural recovery system, reduce stiffness, and help you feel real results in just 1 week. Here's how it works. Step 1. Eliminate the 5 culprit vegetables. Starting tomorrow, clear your kitchen of the following: tomatoes, fresh or canned; eggplants; white potatoes; corn, especially processed forms like chips or cereal; canned green beans and pickled cucumbers. You don't have to throw everything out, but remove them from your plate for 7 days. This will reduce your intake of solanine, excessive sodium, omega-6s, and glycemic overload, all major triggers of joint inflammation. Step 2. Load up on joint-friendly replacements. Every meal should include at least one of the following: steamed leafy greens, spinach, kale, bok choy; roasted sweet potatoes or squash, quinoa or millet as a grain base; fresh or frozen green beans, lightly sautéed; fermented foods with low sodium, unsweetened yogurt, sauerkraut, kefir. These foods supply your joints with essential nutrients like magnesium, potassium, vitamin K, and antioxidants, while helping calm systemic inflammation. Step 3. Hydrate with purpose. Inflamed joints often lack adequate lubrication, so for the next 7 days, aim for 8 to 10 glasses of filtered water daily. 1 cup of turmeric or ginger tea in the evening. Both are proven natural anti-inflammatories. Avoid sugary drinks, sodas, and alcohol during this short phase. They interfere with the detox process your joints desperately need. Step 4. Track the changes. Keep a short daily log with these 3 questions. How stiff do my joints feel this morning? 1 to 10. Did I experience any joint pain today? How easy was it to move, walk, or get out of bed? This helps you see the progress happening, even before it becomes dramatically obvious. Many seniors report better sleep and more comfort in their knees and hips after just 4 or 5 days. Step 5. Gentle movement is your friend. You don't need to hit the gym. Just take 15 to 20 minutes a day for walking gentle yoga, stretching, or Tai Chi. When inflammation drops, your joints will crave movement. And movement helps pump fresh blood and nutrients into joint tissue, like feeding them from the inside. You don't need supplements, medications, or fancy superfoods to feel younger in your joints. What you do need is a short, structured commitment. 1 week of removing harmful foods, replacing them with healing ones, and giving your body the space to reset. This 7-day plan works. I've seen it transform lives. And the best part? Once you feel the difference, you'll never want to go back. Because suddenly, getting out of bed isn't a chore. Climbing stairs doesn't feel like a punishment. You feel mobile, supported, and free in your own body again. You've taken action. Now it's time to claim the reward. Let's talk about what that looks like next. You've just taken the most important step toward a future with less pain, more movement, and greater independence. And I want you to know, this isn't the end. It's the beginning. Because once you feel what it's like to wake up without stiffness, to walk upstairs without gripping the handrail, to kneel down and tie your shoes without hesitation, you realize something powerful. Your body is not broken. It was just inflamed, and now it's healing. Too often we're told that joint pain is inevitable, that stiff knees and aching hips are simply the cost of getting older. But that's not the full story. Yes, aging plays a role, cartilage thins over time. But what accelerates the damage or slows it down is almost always under your control. And it starts with what you choose to eat. When you remove inflammatory vegetables like white potatoes, corn, canned green beans, and pickled cucumbers, when you swap in nutrient-dense foods that support cartilage, bone density, and fluid balance, you're not just eating healthier, you're giving your joints the exact environment they need to function at their best. You're telling your body, I believe in you, I trust your ability to rebuild, and I'm here to support that process. And you know what happens when you do that? Your energy returns, your confidence returns, and your freedom returns. The freedom to live without constantly thinking about pain, pills, or your next physical therapy appointment. Think about what this means for your future. Long walks with your spouse without stopping to rest. Playing on the floor with your grandkids and getting up easily. Gardening, biking, dancing, all without hesitation or regret. Traveling without worrying about swollen knees or painful joints. This is possible, and it begins with awareness, followed by action, and sustained by belief. You've now seen the truth behind 5 vegetables that were once praised, but are now problematic for aging joints. You've learned how to remove them and what to eat instead. You've seen the plan. You've understood the science. You've heard the stories. Now the question is, will you claim this knowledge as your own? Because this journey doesn't belong to doctors or nutritionists or health gurus. It belongs to you, the person who decides every day what goes on your plate, the person who chooses movement over stillness, healing over helplessness, and progress over pain. You have the knowledge, you have the tools, and most importantly, you now have the power. So go ahead, give your joints the care they deserve. Your future self will thank you, and so will the people who love seeing you move, smile, and live life with full vitality. This is Dr. Jonathan Blake, reminding you that aging doesn't mean giving up strength, it means gaining wisdom. And when you use that wisdom to support your joints, you don't just survive after 60, you thrive.